Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt, and today we are going to be discussing what I'm planning on doing for NaNoWriMo this year, as well as how I'm planning to prepare for that during the month of October, aka Preptober. So if you're going to enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate it if you could give this video a big thumbs up because that really supports my channel. And now without further ado, let's get into talking about NaNoWriMo. For those of you that might be a little bit newer around here or might not be familiar with the term NaNoWriMo, NaNoWriMo stands for National Novel Writing Month, which takes place during the month of November. So over the span of the 30 days in November, writers try to write a rough draft of their book in the amount of 50,000 words. I have participated in NaNo before. I've also participated in Camp Nanos in the past, which are hosted in April and July, I believe. And I have won NaNo once officially, and then I won a personal NaNo in April of 2021, I believe. And that just goes to show me that I can do it, and so I'm going to be trying to accomplish that again this year. I recently made a writing update video talking about all the books I want to write and kind of where those projects are currently at. And since I made that video, I've been kind of thinking about this list and trying to think about what on that list I want to accomplish the soonest. This is also the earliest I've ever made a decision on what I'm going to be working on during NaNo, so that's interesting in and of itself. But I have decided that for NaNo 2022, I'm really hoping that I don't change my mind again really last minute. But theoretically, what I'm currently planning on doing for NaNo this year is rewriting my project LRF, which is the book that I wrote in high school. It's a little bit more on like the dystopian fantasy side of things, which is really fun. It's more of like a light-hearted book than the books I feel like I've been writing recently. So I currently have what I'm going to call a rough draft because I'm not fully sure exactly what draft it is, but I have about 70,000 words of LRF written. I recently went through and I reread that, and it needs a lot of work. It was very fun to reread. I really enjoyed the rereading process, but I wrote it over the span of the 4 years that I was in high school, and so characters are all over the place. I sporadically rewrote portions of the book. I randomly added new parts to the book. I randomly took the plot in different directions. It's just not a cohesive enough story for me to do heavy edits on it. I think it just needs to be completely rewritten because I like the idea, but that idea needs to be rewritten. Like, I just don't like the form that it's in right now. And so that being considered, I am kind of hoping that because this is a rewrite of a world and a story that I'm already fairly familiar with and characters that I already know and everything, I'm hoping that this is going to be somewhat easy instead of writing a completely new idea for NaNo that I don't normally have fully fleshed out, just because I am a pantser and pantsers tend to fly by the seat of their pants, unlike plotters who typically have things plotted out beforehand. So the way that I'm interpreting this is my rough draft that I have right now that I'm going to be rewriting is basically the brain dump of every idea that I've had for this book thus far. And that's basically making me feel like a plotter because I've already thought about this world and its characters a ton. I know the gist of the story. That is something that I want to flesh out a little bit more though. And so for me, I think that this makes it a perfect NaNo project for me to be working on. So theoretically, that's the plan. So I'm also going to be talking about my word count goals and how I'm going to be preparing for NaNo during the month of October. So normally, and again, normally, the suggested amount of words that you should be writing a day, theoretically, if you are writing every single day, is 1,667 words. And that's basically just the 50,000 words divided by 30. But I know myself, and a big game changer for me that I learned last year when I won NaNo for the first time, and winning NaNo just means that you complete the goal of hitting 50,000 words. But in winning NaNo for the first time, I watched someone's video and they had the groundbreaking idea of calculating it out, planning not to write every single day. I know, big shocker. It seems so simple, but that again changed the game for me last year. So in trying to calculate how many words I want to be writing a day, I have to figure out realistically how many days I think I'm going to write, which gets very complicated very quickly. I have 2 theoretical trips that I'm taking in November. I've joked about this before, but I think that November is one of the worst months for NaNo to possibly take place in, primarily because of the holidays. So one of those trips is going to be for Thanksgiving, where I'm going to see family, and then one of them I would like to go to New York to see one of my friends. But if I'm in New York and if I'm in Texas for Thanksgiving, I don't know how many of those days where I will be traveling that I will actually be able to work on writing. I also don't have these booked yet. So theoretically, I'm going to assume that I'll probably be in New York for about a week. So that's 7-ish days where I'm not sure I'm writing. And then over Thanksgiving, I will also probably be gone for about 4 days at least. least. So right there off the bat, there's already 11 days where I'm not sure if I will be able to write, but I write really well on planes. So that's also something to keep in mind. So if we take that and we hope that I'm gonna be able to write some of those days. So let's say that I'm planning on not writing 10 to 11 of the days in November. Then suddenly those 50,000 words needs to then be divided by 19 or 20. I know, math, it's a crazy concept. Okay, 50,000 words divided by 20 days is a daily word goal of 2,500 words. It's not impossible, definitely tricky. Well, that's more than I was expecting. Okay, maybe I will try to write more than 20 days in November. I don't need to decide that right now. It will help once I have those trips booked. I did just want to tell you guys kind of what I was thinking along the terms of how many words I would like to write a day, but we'll just see what happens with that. And then how am I going to be preparing? So October, aka Preptober for NaNoWriMo. I currently have two primary things that I would like to accomplish in the month of October as far as the project LRF goes. And that is to reread the notes document that I have for LRF. Because I was writing it over so many years, I just started dumping ideas into a notes document, which I highly recommend. And basically what that left me with is this document. This is my notes document. I think this document itself is 40 or 50,000 words or somewhere in that range. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly, but I'm going to be treating this very similarly like how I did with rereading the LRF rough draft that I have, where I'm just going to be going through and pulling the ideas that I like to make the rewrite a little bit easier so I don't have to go through this information later on. And then after rereading this notes document, the second thing that I want to work on is actually outlining LRF. And I think that this is important because currently the plot doesn't make much sense. I also need to figure out how many books LRF is going to be because, again, when I started writing LRF, like with many of my novels that I begin writing, I start out with thinking that it's going to be one book and then it's not. For a while now, I've thought that LRF is either going to be a 3 or a 4 book series, but I'm not totally sure. And thus, outlining and figuring out what happens in book 1 and then theoretically the rest of the series will allow me to kind of help plan towards that if I think it's more than a 1 book thing. Because right now I honestly don't know, and that's why I need to outline. So with that, those are my goals for Preptober and what I'm planning on working on during the month of November for NaNoWriMo 2022. Again, this is the earliest I've ever decided on what I was doing for Nano, so hopefully I stick to it. If I don't, it's not a big deal, and if I don't, I will update you guys. If you already know what writing project you're going to be working on for November or what you're going to be doing, preparing for that in October, make sure you drop a comment down below and let me know what you're going to be working on. If you are not already subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because during the month of October, I am going to be making videos on rereading this notes document in addition to outlining either the singular book of LRF or potentially the LRF series, and you're not going to want to miss that. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm very excited about Preptober and Nano this year, and I'm thinking we're gonna win. That's my hope. That's always my hope. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Sara Lubratt. I am currently posting videos twice a week here on YouTube. I'm also posting daily over at Sara Lubratt Writes on TikTok and Instagram. So if you want more of my content, make sure you guys go follow me there. Thanks again for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.